Okay, we are playing the passage through Mirkwood for the Lord of the Rings LCG, and I'm just about to set up the game. For my heroes for this set, I'm using Glorfindel from the Foundations of Stone, Frodo Baggins from the Conflict at the Cadrock, and Aragorn from the Watcher on the Water. So I've got 2 Spirit and a Law, which is basically my general setup for the game, and we have got the first quest card out, which is Flies and Spiders for the passage through Mirkwood. Now the basic story for this is you've been sent by King Thranduil to deliver an urgent message to the Lady Galadriel of Lothlorien. So there's a bit of text here, as you can see, but for setup we've got to place the old road and the forest spiders into the staging area, and let's have a look at my starting hand. With this, if you hit the setup button or Control Shift S, it'll set up the quest and all the cards you need out for the beginning of the quest, the heroes onto the main play area, and it'll also set your threat here. So I'm starting with a total of 24 threat, and I think I'm going to keep my hand. So let's begin by starting our first turn. So a new shortcut is Control N for those who aren't used to playing this game. Okay, and to start off with, I'll remove 1 resource from Glorfindel to play a Light of Valinor on him, so that means he does not exhaust to commit to a quest. I'll leave this up here for those who want to read it. Don't want to exhaust that. Now I think I'll take 1 resource from Frodo to attach him with the Song of Wisdom, which will come in handy later on, I believe, hopefully. And that's all for my planning. So we now move on to the questing phase. So I think I'll send Glorfindel and Aragorn for a total of 5, and we'll have 3 in the staging area, so I'll just set that there so it keeps us close. And now we've got to reveal, oops, forgot to set up the next part of the quest card. Bear with us, this is my first time recording. So we've got a total of 3, and now we've got to reveal 1 encounter card from the encounter deck per player, and since it's just me, there's only going to be 1 revealed unless stated otherwise. Okay, and it's a Great Forest Web, so that makes it a total of 5 in the staging area. So we make no progress this turn. But what I will do is I think I'll travel to the Old Forest Road, so Control A to make that the active location. And I will then engage the forest spiders. I'll just move that along so the staging area is clear, well, more easily read. And so that drops down by 3, down to 2. And now for battle, the forest spider is on thanks to the Old Forest Road. Aragorn is now readied, but forest spider gets a +1 when he engages on his attack for the first time, and he also gains a shadow card. So let's see if my luck holds, and it does, so no shadow effect. And because of that, he was actually going to attack Frodo, so I'll still take 1 point of damage on Frodo, but thanks to his ability I'll take it on threat instead. And then goes to the combat phase for us, so I think I'll swing with Glorfindel for 3 and Aragorn to make that 6. So he is now minus 1 damage. Generally, I don't like putting on the damage when it's a one-hit kill like that, but since it's my first playthrough, well, why not? And Aragorn and Glorfindel are now exhausted. Control N to start a new turn and draw an extra card. Okay, now then, for this turn, what to do? I don't think I'll do anything for planning this phase, so I'll move straight on to questing. But I'll drop Council of Elrond, and I do control a unique Noldo character, which is Glorfindel, and I'll give the +1 to Frodo, and I'll also reduce my threat by 3, which will probably come in handy for later on. So I will be questing for 3, 6 this turn. I'll not bother questing with Aragorn. So questing for 6 against 2, so reveal the next encounter card. Another location for 2, so I make 2 progress onto the Old Forest Road. Now since there's nothing to do for battle, I'll just go ahead and start the next turn. Now this is a card I've just drawn that I like, so for this turn I'll remove 2 low resources from Aragorn to play Asphaleth onto Glorfindel, and when Asphaleth's attached to Glorfindel, instead of when he's exhausted, you can place 2 progress tokens on any location, so whether that be in the staging area or the active location. But if he's attached to any other character, it's only 1, as you've read on the card. But what I forgot to mention is the Song of Wisdom also gives Frodo the ability to spend his spirit resources as law. I forgot to make that definition clear. There's 4 song cards out. There's the Song of Wisdom, Song of Travel, and I can't remember the other 2 because I don't generally use the songs, but I'll show you what Asphaleth can do. So I'll just use that straight away, and I'll put the 2 the progress tokens onto the Great Forest Web, which makes that location explode, and that drops that down in the staging area. Comes in very handy, but you don't get that until Foundation of Stone as well, I believe. Well, it's part of the Dwarrow Delph cycle, so if I'm wrong, feel free to comment below. Right, okay then. Now, let's see, where we were. Oh yeah, just getting rid of the Great Forest Web with Asphaleth. So now I'll move on to, and I'll also pay 3 resources, sorry about that. Pay 3 resources, 2 off Glorfindel and 1 off Frodo, to bring out Bofur. Now, if I wanted to, I could just play him straight from my hand into the staging, into the playing area for the cost of 1, but if I win the quest phase, he'd have to return to my hand, so I think I'll just pay the 3 now, and then it's done with. So I will also play another Council of Elrond, and I'll use Glorfindel again and target Frodo again. So Frodo is still sitting at 3, so I'll quest with Frodo, Glorfindel and Bofur. So that I'm now questing for 8. There's 2 in the staging, so let's reveal the encounter card, and it's a King Spider. Each player must choose and exhaust 1 character we control. So not the greatest, but still could have been worse. So I'll exhaust Glorfindel, since he's got the lower defense out of the two. And let's see, so 8 against 4, we'll make 4 progress. This only takes 1, so we'll make 3 progress on my current quest card. And I'm sorry for any mistakes I may be making, but I hope they're few and far between. And I will travel to the forest gate, and as you can see, it has a response, which for this one is after you travel to the forest gate, the first player may draw 2 cards. So 1, 2, and now the King Spider is going to come down and engage with. Hang on, what's this? King Spider's 20. So yep, the King Spider is going to come down and engage, and it gets dealt a shadow. So King Spider is now going to attack Aragorn. Its shadow card's flipped, and now I must discard 1 attachment from a character I control. So generally I wouldn't recommend getting rid of the Light of Valinor, but since I've got another one sitting in my hand, I'm just going to get rid of it. Generally I would go for something like the Song of Wisdom, but because I've got that dud of a card sitting in my hand, with it being a unique card, you can only have 1 in play at a time with the same name. So if I had another Asphalloth in my hand, I would have dropped that. But since I don't, right, okay then. And Aragorn then takes 1 point of damage, which is F3. And since I can't attack this turn, I am going to do a new turn. Okay, let's see what I got. Right, I'll take my 1 resource from Glorfindel to play my Light of Valinor again. Just makes it easier so that I can quest without having to raise my threat with them. But then I'll take 2 resources of Frodo and of Aragorn to play Haldia of Lorien. Now you see these 2 words, ranged and sentinel. They won't make much of a difference in single player games, but if you're doing a co-op or 3 or 4 player match games, then they come in handy. Range means it allows them to attack enemies engaged with another player. Sentinels means that you can use them to defend against attacks for other players. But as it stands at the moment, I am done with my planning and goes to questing. So I will quest with Glorfindel for 3, Boffa for 5, and Haldia to make it 7. And so it's 7 against, there's nothing in the staging area, so the first encounter card out is a pretty powerful enemy called the Chieftain Utak. After he attacks, he gains 1 resource, which then increases attack by +2. Anyway, so that's a threat of 2, so we're going to make 5 progress, so that's enough to clear out Forest Gate and place 1 more on our current quest card. So we're halfway through the first part of Passage through Mirkwood. Now then, how am I going to deal with this assault? Yep, Frodo is going to defend.